I was asked to talk on dewies. There's plenty of guys that are absolute experts on this, but I'll share the bits that I've got. Okay, so first thing, obviously, we've all seen the pictures of the dewies. Just have a look at the shape and the colors, and I'm going to come back to that in a second. Okay, can we go to the next slide? Okay, so just a bit about kind of where they are. So if you have a look here, the distribution, that most of the time when you're sparing them, it's really this zone. They do occur all the way up to there, but most of your sparing will be kind of in from the edges there. I thought this was kind of interesting. So if you look at the bleeding, so the orange line that goes the highest, that's the frequency of them bleeding. So what they're basically saying is that the big females, more of them bleed than the small females. So as the fish get bigger, they're more likely to bleed. So this is how you tell it's a big male. It's got that long bit at the back. If it's really big and it doesn't have that, it's a female. So just keep that in mind. They do grow to like 30. I think the record's 40 years old, so they get pretty old. Okay, so here, if you look at basically any fish and you want to understand, where does this fish live? How can you catch it? You just need to look at, the physiology. So, okay, I've actually got another slide on that. So shape and color, but all fish, they've basically got a few things that they're going to keep, that they're looking for. So the first is access to food. So you need to think, okay, what kind of food would a fish like that eat? Well, it's got a big mouth like a cod, so probably it's an ambush predator. So things like octopus, crayfish, anything that it can hide in a hole, and when something little fish comes past, it can just go and suck it in. That's what it's going to eat. It's, if it was a big mackerel, it's going to chase fish down. Completely different. So where is their food? Where is their shelter? So again, some fish, if they're open water, game fish, they don't need a home per se. They're swimming in the open water. This, just by looking at its shape and the fact that it's similar to a cod, you can tell that it likes being in caves. It likes hiding. So it needs a cave, some sort of shelter. But actually, I'll do the next slide as well. And comfort. So water temperature. If there's a lot of surge, what are the fish going to do? If there's massive surge, they're not going to want to sit somewhere where they're getting knocked around. They're going to want to be comfortable. And so this is kind of just a good general point. So if the next slide, I've got a few different fish that kind of helps illustrate this. But everywhere in the world, if you can look at the fish and kind of identify what the characteristics are, everywhere in the world, fish with those characteristics fulfill the same niche. So you can go and dive somewhere that you've never been, but if you can look at the fish and say, okay, what is this similar to, you'll be able to find, whatever the local equivalent is. Okay, can we roll next slide? Okay, so this is what I was saying just about looking at it. So if you look at like a groper, the camo, it's all designed to basically sit on the bottom like that, in a cave, sitting on the bottom. It's not moving around. It's just waiting, and it's waiting for little fish to come up, and then it's just going to open its mouth and suck them in. But if you look at the mouth, the head of the jewfish, it's basically the same thing. I mean, you look at the huge big mouth. If you open that mouth, it's like a bucket. So it's basically got a similar hunting technique. It's going to sit in a spot and suck things in. But the difference is, look at the camo on this. It's all designed to kind of be on the bottom. It's like the reef. Whereas you look at this, it's shiny. And if you think of most of your other fish that swim in open water, they've got shiny scales. So like your snapper. So these are fish that the shine from their sides, that's reflection. That's what camouflages them in the water. They reflect the blue water around them. And so that's how they camouflage. So just comparing those two fish, that the jewfish likes to live in caves or hunt things in caves. It's going to use them to ambush, but it's also swimming around because it's shiny. So you know it's not just sitting on the bottom, it's swimming. Okay, next slide. I think this is okay. So you know you're going to be looking for good structure, good caves, and you want to find where its food is, where it's going to be safe and comfortable. So some of these fish are, you'd call them indicator species. So when you see these fish, it's either because they live in the same kind of area as a jewfish, so there could be a jewie, or they're the kind of thing a jewie will eat. So these buff bream, so that and these, those are generally going to be, they like a cave, they're like somewhere where they can kind of go and hide and, you know, get out of the surge. They'll often go into really shallow water as well, but if they're in deeper water, normally there's a cave there. And then these things, so I think they call them diamond fish or moonies, or these little stripies. And there's another one that's like a little, it's almost like a nanny guy. I think they call it a luffy. I forget the name, but they're just like little bait fish. And here you can see like this is just a cave at Roto, but you can see all the little bait fish hanging in a spot like that. So that's the kind of, something like that, where you've got a cave and you've got lots of food and basically lots of life. That's where the fish is going to be. So yeah, that's kind of the key spot. And I've got just a really short video. I'll show the difference here. So you're looking for spots where there's a lot of life. Okay, so yeah, that's the thing. So buffalo bream, you want the same thing. Yeah, that's basically it. I think, is there one more slide? Okay. Okay, so this is another point. So again, you just look at their physiology and then you think, well, are they, you know, what other fish are there on the reef in this area that they are that is bigger? And there's really nothing other than sharks. So these are the dominant fish. They basically the boss of the reef. So they're swimming, you know, they'll be using ambush, they'll hide in caves, they're also going to be swimming around. So you're looking for that. This is a key point. Because they're the top predator, they expect that if there's easy food, they're going to get it. They're going to go in and they're going to be able to muscle out any other fish. So if you're there and you make a bit of noise, they basically think, hey, what's going on? I'm top dog here. Who's in my spot? And they're going to come out and check you. So you can use stuff like a little bit of noise, or if there's any fish or food in the water, they're going to come to have a go at it. And so, yeah, look, I thought actually, let's roll the video and I could show this at the end. So are there any questions so far? Or should we? Okay, well, we'll roll the video. Yeah, okay. Okay, so the first bit, I know we always say you need to find fishy spots. This is an example of a not fishy spot. So if you dive down and it looks like this, don't waste your time sitting there thinking, oh, maybe a fish will come. Just go straight up. You might find something, it can happen, but you're probably wasting your time. So this is what you're looking for. So here you've got buffalo bream swimming around, and here you've got a whole school of these little diamond fish. So you know that there's a possibility there's going to be a jewie around. Okay, and this, you can see there's just weed all the way around, and there's this one crack. And there he is. You can see there's a bit of surge, and there's the jewie there coming down. So he's going to be using that crack to sit out of the surge. Again, comfort. He doesn't want to be getting noshed all over. So here, okay, there you go. You can see there's food. There's the little diamond fish and a few leather jackets. And watch where the jewie comes. He's going to come and just kind of sit just out of the surge. And they'll come and face you. And he's out of the surge now. It's comfortable for them to be there. This is a bit different. This one's actually going along the edge of a weed line. So again, like on that, if you wanted to take him, you could literally drop straight on top of him and shoot him from above. he still feels dominant. He's not rushing away like a snapper, he's hanging around. Okay, this was a really nice little spot there. When you find a cave like that you might find clays in, you could see there was bait there. That's going to be a nice little dewy hole. He can go out there, get out of the cover, and you can just see there's a dewy. Just see his nose sticking out as we go. Oh, it's down there somewhere. Yep, you can see him just sticking out, and he actually took off after that. This is just another one, nice sort of cave complex. This is what you're looking for. And so he could be hiding in there, but this one was just free swimming, and he just kind of swims up to have a look.
Shoot!
Female or male? It's a female, isn't it?
Because that's the long.
I think
Had
so.
that long mohawk.
Is it?
See how inquisitive it is? Comes up a few times.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's clues. So this one, now this one, okay, I do shoot one here. But this, okay, this is probably not a good example, but if you see, I grab the line. As soon as I've shot it, I grab the line because these things like caves. Their technique, as soon as you shoot them, is to get into a cave. So as soon as you shoot it, if the shot's good, grab your line and try, if you've got the breath, try to drag it up a little bit so he can't get into a cave. If he can, oh, this was a one, yeah, you could just drop straight on top, but you see there's a big bommy here, and he's just sitting around the side of the bommy. There'd be bait fish hanging on top of the bommy. So, and I think...
Oh, I know that.
And this was just a quick little burley demo. So you can see here, what we've done is we've cut hatchets. We've hatcheted the fish, and when you cut it like that, you're getting big pieces. So if there's a lot of current, you can do big pieces and they're going to get down a bit faster. But if there isn't much current, I prefer doing this. So you just sort of very lightly do that, and you get like fluff coming off. And it means you just use a lot less burley, and also you're just putting the taste in the water. You're getting them excited, but you're not actually leaving. They're not going to get full from burley. There's not enough there for them to, they're going to hang around a bit longer. So, okay, this is the last little bit. People have asked about, the burleying thing. If you're on a really good spot and you think, oh, there's a lot of fish here, there's lots of, if you shoot a fish, when it's struggling, they'll come out to have a look at that. You can use that fish, if nothing comes out, to then do your burleying. And this just stays on my boat constantly. I'd suggest, it just makes it so much easier if you've got a good system for this, you're going to do it. So, hold on, can I put that in my pocket? So there's a little kind of tub at the back of the boat. It's got some holes in, so it drains. As soon as I shoot fish, everything just goes in there. That just, as soon as I stop, I can just quickly go around like something hanging off the edge of the boat. That's done. This just comes off like that, and it's kind of auto, I'll quickly show you the knot there, so, you never get tangles. Throw that out. You could just use a fish stringer, except I find that when you're hanging on there, if you're getting bumped around, if it's a normal stringer, you can actually stick it through your wetsuit, so I just use that. And put a bunch of fish on there. You probably, 3 or 4 or even 2 buffies. And then you want a big, mean old knife. You want some sort of strong cord on here that's, because you're going to hit it occasionally, you don't want to cut through it. These knives are absolutely worth their weight in gold.
Green rubber.
They're worth their weight in gold, yeah. They're superb. And you can basically hack away at it. Be careful. Mile has had experiences with knives, so yeah, be careful. Cut away from yourself. And just remember that if this is all hanging off the edge of your boat, off the back of your boat, you want enough line that when the surge is moving the boat around and you're there hacking this, if it's only that far and the boat gets pulled one side, you're going to cut yourself. So yeah, just be careful. And I just do a fender because it's, you know, it's cheap and it's permanent. And winding lines up, this I found is the easiest way. So you go over your arm, and then the reason you do that is it layers it on top of each other, and so it doesn't tangle, or shouldn't tangle. And then you just do 2 half hitches on either side, just like that. There. And even for if you're using a float line, that's a, oh, I didn't push it enough. That's a really good and easy way to do it. And then when you throw it out, you know, it's quick, and you're going to be more likely to use it if it's all easy for you to use. Okay, I've talked a lot. That's my blurb. Any questions? Any?
Depth of water for Dhufish.
Ah, good question. You don't actually need to be that deep. I guess
More about the ground.
it's more about the ground. I mean, I've seen good dewies in 3 meters of water. If there's a lot of food there, you know, if it's great, really great ground, I mean, anything from, you know, 2-3 meters to, you know, how deep do you want to go? You know, the linos get them in 50-60 meters. So, I mean, they're everywhere if there's good food. The main thing, I think, is pressure. So you've got to think how many other guys are fishing on the spot. So that's probably the main thing you've got to think about, in my opinion.
Oh, sorry. Do you have a preference? Is there a preference shooting a male or a female? Or it's like it's unspoken rule you don't shoot females, or does it matter?
Look, I don't think. Yeah, look, I don't think there is anything on
Yeah.
on that. I think, you know, but just bear in mind that the big females, you know, they're more likely to breed,
Yeah.
and they put out the majority of eggs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know,
You can make
if you
your
got the
own mind
yeah, I mean, it's not for me to give a moral position to anyone, but just think about it.
Most people like
Yeah.
to apply the sex when it's in the esky.
That's just
Yeah, but you know, if they're both sitting next to each other and you got the choice, well, yeah, maybe could take the male.
Yeah, how long will you spend on a spot before you leave? Do you think it's not good?
Yeah, good question. So the first one is how much life is there. If you get there and there's life, you've got to think, well, okay, there's something here. If I burley a little bit, there might be more fish further. You know, there might be fish doing laps of that area. So, you know, if you're just arrived on a spot and you think, okay, this could be good, I don't know, 15 minutes. If you're then going to put burley, you know, I know some guys find a spot and they burley for hours and hours and hours, and they get fish. But for me, like after 40 minutes, if nothing's there, or half an hour, I just say probably move on.
How often do you see them straight away?
Yeah, pretty often actually. Pretty often. Pretty much, because that other point about them, they are the dominant fish on the reef. They're the boss. You know, they expect that if anything's going on, hey, this is my turf. You know, I'm in control here. He's going to come and check you out. So a little bit of noise is okay.
So they're territorial?
I think they would be, yeah. I mean, they certainly behave as if they are. You know, they act as if
Get more
this.
than, say, 2 or 3 dewies in a reef system that's 50 metres.
Well, but again, you do sometimes very rarely get them in schools. I know Mile and Toy have seen them in shoals but it's pretty rare. I think at the Abrolis there's a few places they get them in shoals, but yeah.
I personally think they're not in schools because the numbers are not big enough. The numbers are around that they are school. I mean, if you listen to old timers, and they'd say, yeah, there always used to be numbers around. Definitely
Yeah.
breeding period for the school art, but that's not what you're referring to, I know. But
Yeah.
I think that it's a numbers game versus you know, rather than being sort of a single habitat fish.
Yeah.
That's just not just listening to old timers talk when they used to see a lot of schools around.
Yeah, it makes sense. So it certainly does.
There's always two, isn't it? Where you find one, there's always two.
So what? Like the.
I'm not from here, I'm from the eastern states, it's pro fishing, but
Yep.
come over here to see it, but every time I found a Dhufish, there's always two.
Yeah, okay.
I said to Henry and the boys the other day for the comp, and Troy got one, and then Jimmy went straight down and shot the second one.
Yeah, so that's probably like a pair. Yeah, like a male-female paired up.
Always in a pair.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, sometimes you see that, but often, often they will be by themselves. Sometimes you'll even find a couple, and sometimes there'll be a small one, and one or two small ones, and then there'll be a big one. So yeah, if you're not, if you get down and there's a little one, and you're thinking, oh, I may as well just wait a little bit. Generally they're not going to go too far. So you can always take it later if you really want it, but there might be a much better one. So, yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you, everybody.